two giant football clubs, the Reds against the Blues.
They always say that Man United, sooner or later they will take the rhythm.
You know, we are the best side in the world at the minute, no doubt about it.
Haaland low and number 6.
City in that form can do that to anybody. How do you stop that?
It's frightening.
Haaland! Foden! Will City have scored already?
Never in doubt. Erling Haaland. Manchester City, the reigning champions, the reigning treble winners.
Bernardo Silva.
Manchester United are going to have to perform at their very best.
Hello, it's FG, and I am at the Waldorf pub in Manchester Piccadilly, or as it's known throughout the month of March, the Citizens Arms. In partnership with Asahi, Manchester City fans can come to this place and watch all of our iconic fixtures during March. And next week, for the game against Liverpool, there's a very, very special guest coming to join. He won't mind me telling you all. Paul Dickov will be here, so if you haven't got a ticket for the game next week, make sure you come here to watch the game with him. We're going to head inside and speak to some City fans. There's also chances to win some amazing prizes like signed training shirts. Let's go inside. Okay, we are inside the Citizens Arms. First things first, Ben, Manchester Derby. What's your Manchester Derby's best memory?
There can only be one. 6-1 at Old Trafford. Beauty.
And how do you think today's game is going to go?
I think it's going to be a pretty easy game, to be fair. I think we're going to score maybe 4 goals. I think 4-0, possibly.
I love the confidence, you know. This time last year we scored 6 against Man United. Ben, who do you think is going to score today?
You know what? Foden. I love Foden. De Bruyne and Haaland.
I'm still a little bit nervous. I know these lads are confident. Unfortunately, I'm the old school. I won't be happy until we're 3-0 up.
Can I have some words from you on Pep, please?
Oh, he's just smashing, isn't he? He's amazing. I just love him really. Best man in the world. And he looks like my dad.
Well, okay, well, there you go. So, from me, Pep, and the guys from Dublin, it's been a pleasure. Let's show the fans at home that scarf. That is absolutely amazing. And let's hope for a scoreline like that today.
I've played football all my life. Definitely my favorite sport by far. And just one day, I was like 7, 8 years old. It was 2011, and just went to my friend's house. And City was the first Premier League game I watched on TV. And just from there, like you're not becoming a City fan after that. It's just beautiful to watch. Favorite team for sure, and been diehard since then.
So let's have a word on Derby Day. Your Derby memories. Have you got any good memories as you? Oh, you are defending quite.
Oh, God, which one? It's got to be Andy Hinchcliffe. It's got to be Andy Hinchcliffe.
5-1, 6-1, take your pick.
You know,
3-1.
Balotelli. Man, there's too many. The GOAT, just the GOAT through and through. Yeah. Even what's that guy who played up front for us? He was terrible, and he scored with his arse. When it hit his arse, went in, we won 1-0. So many.
Loads of memories about Derby Day. That's it from 1989. 5-1, brilliant. Was there, see my mate in the Kipax, seeing him, shout out to Zaki there, he knows who he is. He looked at me and I saw him, and when that 5th goal went in, his face was a picture. I've still got it in my memory now, so yeah, brilliant. 5-1, 6-1, Old Trafford. They say, don't they, well, somebody said, not in my lifetime will City be favourites, but I think it's not in my lifetime, it's every time.
We love to hear it, and that is the energy we want to be bringing into this huge clash at the Etihad Stadium. It is Derby Day, my friends. And there is the big man Erling Haaland, fresh after that 5 goals at Luton. Unbelievable win there, 6-2 in the middle of the week. We will be, of course, hoping to emulate that. Welcome along to Matchday Live. You're getting live pictures here of our fans welcoming the boys in blue to the Etihad Stadium. You know what it is. It's nerves, it's excitement, maybe a little bit of trepidation, but overall just hoping that we will be coming away with those all-important 3 points and close that gap on Liverpool back to 1 point, of course, with the game as well next week taking place at Anfield. I'm going to give you an exclusive. I don't know if I'm allowed, but I'm going to do it. I can reveal That unbelievable partnership in the middle of the week, Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland, will be in full effect today. That man does start. And remember, I'll be bringing you the starting 11. You get it first here on Matchday Live in just a couple moments' time. But some live pictures there from the Etihad Stadium. The atmosphere is building, the excitement is building, and we're here in the Matchday Live studio alongside two club legends, captains as well, Mr. Keith Curle and Richard Dunne. Thank you for joining us, fans here in the UK and all around the world, as we build up to our 3:30 kickoff against our rivals Manchester United. Keith, how are you feeling today? Nerves? Excited? How are you feeling?
No, I'm excited. But with any derby game, you've always got one eye on can the occasion be affected? But no, I think you'd say the message has got to be like, don't play the occasion, play the game for City. Man United, they've got to make it an occasion because they need a difference, they need a change, and a derby day is when the best time for them to do it. They've had a disappointing season. We've had a great season so far, and we need another performance.
We seem to be just hitting our stride, Richard, but you know we have games here at the Etihad where we've come into it obviously as favourites, but as Keith says as well, that kind of goes out the window in a derby. Captaining the side, does it always feel a little bit different when you're coming into a derby?
Yeah, derbies are very, very special because most games you can work on the tactics and all that sort of stuff leading up to it, and it's a slow build up. For a derby, it begins early in the week. As soon as the previous game is over, the whole city's talking about it. Everyone wants to be at this match. They want to play this match. So the tension builds up in the dressing room even beforehand. Without talking about it, you understand the size of what's about to happen. Me and Keith was down on the blue carpet earlier, and you can just feel the energy outside is different to a normal match day. So, I mean, for whoever captains the side today, it's going to be their job to, like Keith says, calm down, play a normal football, let United focus on it being a derby, and they'll want to try and make the game a little bit messy and everything like that. As City stay in the rhythm, just because of what I felt in terms of the energy outside, this could be a big, big day for City. I think there could be plenty of goals in it for them.
Richard, I love it. I mean, you'll know at home, I come into these a bit nervous, then you sit next to these gents and you all instantly feel a lot better. How important as well is it coming into this game on the back of that 6-2 win in the middle of the week against Luton and using that momentum? Yeah,
well, momentum's key going into any game, but again, I think you see the connection between De Bruyne and Haaland, and the injuries that they've had, they've come back, and you can tell there's a hunger and a desire for them to recreate that connection that they've got. And again, but when they're firing, unplayable, unstoppable.
Unplayable, unstoppable. I did reveal at the start of the show, they are starting, the two of them. Who else is lining up alongside them? Well, let's find out now. Here is your all-important Manchester City Derby Day 11. It looks like this. Ederson in goal, and captaining Manchester City in his first derby here at the Etihad, Kyle Walker. Completing that defence, John Stones, who for me was all over the pitch against Luton in the middle of the week, alongside, of course, the ever-present Ruben Diaz. Filling that back four at the left is Nathan Ake. Moving into midfield, we have Rodri, De Bruyne. We never know if it's going to be Bernardo in the middle or maybe Phil Foden. Either one of them, then I'm sure the other will be over on the right. Over on the left, of course, Jeremy Doku. And completing the 11 down the middle. 5 goals in the middle of the week. We know he loves to score in a derby as well. Only Aguero has scored more against United. Erling Haaland completes our starting 11. On the bench as well, we have Moreno, Kovacic, Alvarez, Gomez, Guardiola, Kanji, Nunez, Oscar Bob, and Rico Lewis. I guess we have to begin, Richard, with the attacking lineup there. And Erling Haaland, 5 goals in the week. I think only Aguero has scored more than him against United. If he does score today, it'll also be 600 goals under Pep Guardiola at the Etihad. But this partnership seems to be kind of hitting a stride and seems like it could only get better.
Yeah, I mean, when they didn't play, the two of them were out for long periods of the season. When they didn't play, it didn't really look like we missed them because the rest of the lads stood up and performed. But when you see them play like they played on Tuesday or Wednesday night against Luton, you just know when you've got two players that turn your team from a really, 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 really good team into the very, very best team, it's incredible because it takes some talent to how these two players add something to an already amazing team is really special. I think Pep spoke about, we've got great players, but these two make the difference in the big games and the big moments of the season. And I know they won't be pleased that they've missed the season through injuries and stuff, but it just gives them that little bit of extra freshness now at this period of the season, and they're just unbelievable to watch and just link up so well.
That link up, and we're going to actually talk about partnerships a little bit later on, but I guess you can't really coach that. I mean, it's not even like they've been playing together for 4 or 5 seasons, Keith. It's only Erling Haaland's 2nd season. So is that just where their brains are at, that they're kind of on another level and instinctively know where each other's going to be on the pitch? Almost?
I think it's a connection between good players. And if you have a look at Kevin De Bruyne, sometimes he doesn't even have to look. He knows where he's going to put the ball and where a centre forward should be. And I think that split second of knowing where a centre forward should be is one of those that stops defenders being able to counter it.
Yes.
Because the player's on the ball and he looks up, that gives you an indication of where he's trying to put it. Kevin at times doesn't even need to look up. He just puts the ball into an area where he knows a good centre forward is going to be.
Yeah, his radar is kind of, obviously, I mean, I think it's the best in world football. Also, though, one player who has really come into his own, Phil Foden. Richard, I wondered, do you think we've seen actually, and I never thought I'd say it, Bernardo being more on the right and he's now using Foden in the middle. Do you think that might be the same tonight? And how effective can he be, especially given he scored a hat-trick here last season?
Yeah, it's the improvement in him this season's been outstanding, and I think Pep spoke about how good he is in really tight, small areas. And you can only imagine that Man United's going to come here and try and defend and be compact and make things difficult. So if you're trying to get someone who can break them down centrally, I think Phil would be your man. The players around them, I mean, the rotations in the team and the players, everyone seems to find space and get free. And when you look at the side that's been named, the amount of goals that's already they've scored as a team this season is it's frightening. And there's times I used to go to Old Trafford as a City player against Man United, who were the champions of Europe, and it was a tough day.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine this is a terrifying prospect for Man United coming here today, because City look really, really sharp and really, really hungry at the moment.
Yeah, we're coming into that part of the season, as we know, where City kind of come into their own. And I think it was even Erling Haaland said, I don't know if it was after the Luton game or the game before, we're coming. It definitely feels like that. And one man who is, I feel, key to that, though, on the other side of the pitch, John Stones. And I feel the Luton display was almost case in point of that. We were saying he was 1 minute he was left centre back, and then he was doing an overlap into the box. It's quite amazing what he's doing, not just in midfield but all around the pitch, Keith.
Yeah, he's becoming an all-round footballer, and again the attributes that he's got, the athleticism that he's got, the game understanding, and also his technical ability as well allows him that he can get himself out of trouble, and he's also he wants to play on the front foot. I think that's a big thing that I watch when I watch City play. A lot of other coaches and teams are trying to imitate how City are playing by dominating possession of the ball, but they're not going anywhere. Yeah. They don't go anywhere as quick as what City do. When City play with the tempo of their game, it's always with a forward-thinking mentality, and the movement and the rotation is excellent. But it's understanding that they've got control of the football. They've got control of the football. We've got control of the game.
Yes.
And then I think it's because I don't think that's something that they work on when you've got a left side centre back underlapping on the right hand side, trying to pick a cross out in the box for an advanced midfield player to come and get on the end of it. That's difficult to work on. But that's the freedom that you have within the system that Pep's created.
Yeah, and I guess as well, actually, an understanding of the system, and it's no surprise when you've got players like Kyle Walker and John Stones, who have played in this system now for 8+ years, that they actually can kind of do that without thinking and know what's required in each position, Richard?
Yeah, the players, for all the ability they've got, they're massively clever, they're intelligent footballers, they understand what's needed, and they might work on something and say, right, well, you can do this overlap, or you can do this underlap or something, but picking the right moment of when to do it and sensing the game and how the game's going. Keith speaks about Kevin De Bruyne just putting the ball into areas because he's the best midfielder in the world, and the best midfielder in the world knows where the ball should be. Yeah. Well, the best centre forward in the world knows where he wants the ball. So when they link up like that and the rest of the movement all comes together, it's beautiful. It's as good a football that you're ever likely to see, I think, from any Premier League team that we've seen previously.
Absolutely, and actually probably any City team as well. Defensively, we're going to bring you the United team news very, very soon. We know what City can do going forward. There have been moments over the last few months where that kind of low block and the quick counter has maybe been our downfall slightly. What would you like to see, Keith, from our defence and midfield as well? And obviously attack, it's all the players on the pitch, but maybe to limit that, because United do have pace, as we know, and they can break very quickly, especially when they've got players like Bruyne playing.
Yeah, and again, it's something that I think City won't be unused to having teams coming here and putting in a low block. But I think with the emergence now of the fullback rolling in to counter the counter attack and being in that central position, again, any team is always going to be susceptible for a counter attack when you're dominating and you're committing people forward. But then likewise, I think Pep has got an understanding and a trust with his players that he trusts the defenders that he puts on the pitch to be in the right place at the right time and make the right decision, which is sometimes it's not making a tackle or winning a header. It's delaying play to get other people back.
Yes.
And again, I think when you have a look at the attitude when City lose possession of the ball, the urgency to try and win that ball back within the first 4 or 5 seconds, excellent. And that's where when you're talking about top class, world class players with a work ethic, and that's a starting point for any foundation if you want to be successful.
There's an amazing stat, I think, where City have the shortest time period without the ball from when they lose it in the whole of the Premier League this season. It's a case in point, as you've said there. Just quick word as well before we head to FG pitch side with Sean Wright-Phillips on Jeremy Doku. It was such a shame to see Jack. Obviously, he's been really trying to come back from injury and picked up that niggle again against Luton. We wish him a speedy recovery, but great chance for Doku to really shine and his first derby here at the Etihad Stadium as well, Richard.
Yeah, he's such an exciting player to watch. As soon as he receives the ball, his first thought is right, kind of dribble against the defender, kind of take him on, force them back. And if you're defending him, you're instantly on the back foot. You're looking for cover behind you. He creates space for other players, and he's in a derby when things can be a little bit tense. Having somebody probably with a different mindset, someone who a little bit freer in what he's doing. He doesn't have maybe the responsibilities that the rest will have defensively. Having him pushing you back and driving your own team forward, it's an amazing opportunity for him today to really establish himself as a City legend.
Absolutely. I mean, almost a bit reminiscent of Sean Wright-Phillips, and I mean, someone a player you know really well. Actually, we're going to hear from him in a second, but how would you go about trying to defend against him in training? Because I also remember as well, I think it was Dickie saying you think he'd come in and be able to knock him off the ball, but you kind of never could, and he was so quick as well. It must have been, how would you deal with it in training?
I mean, I used to just smack into him. But he's similar in terms of he dribbles with the ball, and when you tackle him, ricochets fall his way. And it happens with Doku quite often, where they're going at such speed and they change direction so quickly. When it ricochets off a defender, they react quicker, and it looks like, oh, he's ended up with the ball again. And it's hard because they keep going, they don't get disappointed by failure. They just continue. So, yeah, it's hard work for a defender, but it's brilliant for us to be able to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to see who will be trying to contain Doku in about 5-10 minutes, but let's head pitch side. FG is now with Sean Wright-Phillips, funnily enough. Let's see what they make of our starting 11.
Yes, welcome to the Etihad Stadium. It's Derby Day in the city of Manchester. My name's FG and I'm joined by the man who in 2004, you know I'm going to talk about is Sean, scored an absolute screamer and did a certain celebration behind us. Any robots today, Sean?
No, I'm passing that baton on to someone else. Hopefully Phil does it for me today, to be honest with you.
Before this, you actually sat down with Phil and said to him you wanted him to do the robot if he scored today.
Yeah, I did. He said he doesn't think he's got it in the locker. He said he's going to stick to his sniper.
Well, I don't blame him. If we can see a lot of snipers today, we'll be very happy. We've just seen the Manchester City lineup. Happy with the team?
When can you not be happy with a Man City lineup? But yeah, it's nice to see the team that he's put out there. I think seeing Doku out there gives us that little width and that little creativity, one-on-one situations, and hopefully it keeps Diallo, if he's playing, in his rightful position. But let's see what happens. But I can't wait to see the team gel together, Haaland and KDB clicking again, and Phil doing Phil things.
Phil doing Phil things indeed. Let's go and talk about Jeremy Doku, because he's an exciting winger, and on Derby Day, watching you down that right-hand side, you would attack the fullback, and we fully expect Jeremy Doku to do exactly the same and get the fans and get the players ready for it. And, you know, when you've got the fans, I mean, the atmosphere in this stadium is going to be incredible anyway, but when you're taking players on like you used to on Derby Day, and like Jeremy will try to do today, get the fans roaring, and it'll get the momentum going, won't it?
Most definitely. I think as a winger and a creative player, that's what you're kind of there. You're part entertainer, but you also have to create the right chances and make the right decisions. And I think on Doku's day, he does all of those things, and hopefully he turns that on today and gives United what United may need.
Well, yeah, we'll come to that as well. Potentially another point. It's 15 points between Manchester City and Manchester United right now. 15, by the way. I'll say that again because it's Derby Day. We can say as much as possible. We've got some City fans in the starting 11, which is brilliant. 2 of them scored hat-tricks this time last season, Erling Haaland and Phil Foden. Let's speak about Erling. We know how much he loves playing against Manchester United. He says it all the time. We saw him coming off the bus before. He looked so relaxed, and this is a moment for him, and especially after the hat-trick midweek, he's going to be feeling great, isn't he?
Well, to be honest, if I scored as much goals as him, I'd be a very relaxed person as well, because you can see, like, he got a lot of stick and criticism throughout the last few weeks from people saying he's not what he was last year because he missed a few chances. But the one thing I noticed in the Luton game, he went through once, could have chipped it, didn't chip it, it got saved. Went through again the next time, realised that he should have did this the first time, did it the second time and scored. So a man that can notice those things in the middle of the gameplay shows you where his confidence and head is right now.
Now, after that result in Luton, City fans will be super confident because we saw the band get back together. We saw Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland to each other, assisting each other. And obviously Kevin's playing today as well. And it just gives you so much joy watching him play, especially when we're playing against Manchester United.
It's joy watching him play because of the things he does. I think people see that picture, especially the people sitting in the stand or high up. They see a picture and they see the passes that could be made before some of the players because of that view. Whereas Kevin sees that in real time and he does these passes. I say it all the time. It's almost like he's pressing the triangle button on the PlayStation pad as the through ball with the chip. And he could just see it anywhere it is. He just says, I can get it there, and he'll just make it happen. And I think having that behind you as a Haaland or a Foden or an Oscar Bob or a Doku, you know you can just run and sometimes not even have to shout for the ball. You just know for whatever reason, Kevin knows that you're going to be in this position at this specific time.
If only it was that easy to press the triangle button. I tried, it doesn't come off like Kevin De Bruyne. In the studio today, Richard Dunne, Keith Curle and of course Cel. Any messages for any of them? It's Derby Day, do you want to say anything?
Well, Keith, Dunne are normally quite calm per people. Cal, keep your bum on the seat and relax. Don't stress anybody else out in that studio, please.
Kel, don't change, mate. We'll be watching the game with you. Do not change. Let's head back to the studio.
It's a fair comment, it's a fair comment. Sean, you'll be pleased to know I'm definitely feeling a lot calmer alongside Richard and Keith, so I'll be keeping my bum firmly on the seat until I'm sat in my own seat over there. I won't do it in the studio. Thanks for joining us if you've just tuned in. Keepers have just taken to the pitch here at the Etihad, which means the players will be following them out very, very shortly. Now, if you want to get involved with our show, there's the all-important WhatsApp number below. That's how you can pass a comment, maybe on what we're talking about. If you've got a question, or maybe you might think maybe a little suggestion for what might to come in the game, use that number and I'll get to them a little bit later on. But I mentioned partnerships at the start of the show, gents, and we're obviously talking about the unbelievable partnership of Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland. But we want to also look at some other ones back in the years, beginning with you, Dunne, and your partnership with none other than Cel van Distan. Played 171 times together for the club. Of course, you must look back fondly on your time at City, but playing with Cel van Distan, why do you think it worked so well?
Obviously, the balance was really good because of a right foot and left foot. Sylvan was more of a proactive, I suppose, defender. He wanted to run forward an awful lot. He wanted to get the ball and dribble at times, and it would leave me where I would cover. If I went for a challenge, for a header, I knew 100% of a miss that he would be there. And I think for a centre-half, you need to have the confidence to go and do what you think is right, knowing quite well if it doesn't quite come off, your mate's got your back. And it's weird. It's like you sense them around you, so you know without speaking or without seeing them. Sometimes you just sense where they're going to be all the time. And I think having that sort of feeling between yourselves is what helps. You have to feel comfortable with each other. You have to be. I mean, I lived on the downstairs apartment and he lived upstairs. but we weren't massive mates or outside of the pitch. But when we went on the pitch, we just had this click where it just he could trust me and I could trust him, and it was just like when it's like that, it just works.
Was it anything to do with a couple of the house parties maybe as well that you wouldn't speak to?
It was him who was partying. It was the bad one.
I was thinking that clip we just saw there before. I wondered if that was about the house party possibly. I remember Jolien saying as well though, when he was playing, obviously when Vincent Kompany had established himself as kind of the first name on the team sheet almost, he said then for him he wanted to make his game about how can I best complement Vinny to then make sure that I'm going to be the man standing alongside him. So you do also, I guess, look at the other players' game and think, well, how could I maybe then improve the areas that maybe they're not the strongest in, so to speak?
Yeah, and I think like say me and Sylvan have similar attributes where I want to go and do something, but I know, well, Sylvan's better than me at that. So I'll be the one, let him go and do it, let him be the one that wants to dribble forward and get in tackle or whatever it may be, because I can cover his back all the time. And then it's understanding your limitations and what you're better at and what you're not. And yeah, the two of us could communicate really well with one another. We'd always have the person in front of us helping us and blocking things in. So we just... It's weird. If you could bottle it and sell it and stuff like that, you'd be a millionaire. But it's just one of those things that happens at times, and you don't know why.
Yes.
But it just works.
That's kind of the magic, isn't it? And actually, looking then to your time, Keith, is going a little bit further back. The 91-92 season under Peter Reid, second season when we finished fifth, 36 goals between none other than Niall Quinn and David White. I mean, that was a hell of a partnership, wasn't it? Why do you think that one worked so well?
Pace and hold-up ability of Quinny. I think Quinny was underestimated for his technical ability with the football. Like you just said there, his touch. And White, his pace. And it was... David was raw, but and probably you'd probably say uncultured, but he was direct, powerful, quick, and he had the ability to score goals as well.
And of that thing Dunne was saying there, obviously about trying to bottle it, it's kind of an unspoken thing, isn't it? Is it just kind of throughout your careers you just find there's certain players that you just seem to instantly have that knack with without even having to say too much? Is that you could say everything without saying anything?
I think when I first joined, I think it was Colin Hendry and Steve Redmond, and I think the wide opinion was it was going to be me and Colin Hendry would be forming a partnership. In actual fact, I played a couple of games with Colin, but I had a better understanding with Steve Redmond, who was again very. Not a flashy centre-back, but he was in the right place at the right time and made good decisions, and I enjoyed playing with him. But it was the club's decision that Redders went. And then they brought in Alan Kernaghan. And again, a player that you say, well, dominant centre-back, play right-hand side. I never really clicked with Alan Kernaghan because I used to play offside. Even though I was quick, I used to play offside, and I used to give him signals, and then so I'd give him the signal, and then he wouldn't play offside because he didn't trust himself. Whereas I'd been brought up, and that's how I played.
Yes.
And so the next thing we had falling outs over like, well, tell me if you're not going to play offside. Tell me that you don't want to play offside, and we won't.
Yes.
Because I can adapt to it, but I need to know. I can't give you a signal and then you don't say anything, but don't do it.
That's so interesting. So actually, well, if it's not working, then being able to work out, is there a way in which we can kind of make it work? But that comes through communication between everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I asked the question nicely.
Then looking a little bit to more recent times, and I feel like, well, one player here could have a partnership with anyone, David Silva, but the David Silva-Aguero partnership, 44 goals between them combined. You wonder, could KDB and Haaland match them? They're on 20 at the moment. Before that, though, I mean, as I say, when you've got David Silva, Richard, it must have been a joy for Sergio Aguero to have him behind him.
Yeah, I obviously played against this team, and it was hard. It was really hard. And it was the movement, and it's again, you go back to like Haaland and Bruyne. You've got two of the best players in the world in their positions doing what they do best, and the same. Aguero was unbelievable striker. David Silva was David Silva, and they were just Yaya Toure was in that team at the time, and it just really good players are just really difficult to play against and a joy to watch at times, and they make the right choice. The weight of pass is perfect all the time. The runs are great. They don't miss opportunities when they arrive, and it's just it's amazing when you get a collection of really top players playing together.
the magic that can
happen.
happen.
And we've got it here, so it's brilliant.
We do indeed, and I wonder the United players actually have just taken to the pitch here to my left. Just off that though as well, Keith, I mean, Richard's saying about playing against it. I guess when you are playing against it, at times you can feel like you may be a step or two steps behind the flow of the game in a way.
Yeah, well, sometimes you probably... back in my time was the Chelsea team that I played against, and they were forward thinking of Glenn Haaland as a manager, and they had dominated possession of the ball, and they used to take you into areas as a defender that you didn't want to go, but you had to go, and that was probably the start of it when you see about the rotation in movement of players where they're going and getting marked, then taking the defender into an area, because I was quick, and I used to cover everybody at the back, so then they used to build it up so that I had to go short, and then they're taking the pace out of the defensive unit.
Ah, okay, yes. So then I'm just trying to do things to counter what you might have been doing on the pitch. Fascinating. Right, we saw them in the tunnel there, so we should probably find out how Manchester United lining up. Well, let's head pitch side. FG's now with Michael Brown to bring us Manchester United's starting 11.
Yes, thank you, Kel. Welcome back to Pitside here at the Etihad. It's time to reveal the Manchester United starting 11 for the game today. In goal is Onana, and then it is a back four of Dalot, Varane, Evans and Lindelof. And then it's Casemiro, Mainu, McTominay, Bruno, Garnacho and Marcus Rashford. Joining me Pitside, the man himself, Michael Brown. Brown, who's seen the team. Any surprises?
I think it's one of those for Manchester United. You were wondering if it was going to be a secret on Haaland. Was he going to be that number 9 as the one they desperately wanted back? I covered them last week against Fulham. I thought they were really disappointing. Fulham controlled possession at times, created lots of opportunities. That midfield looked a little bit vulnerable. Mainu, Casemiro, I think it needs a little bit of help. McTominay comes in. I think that was a wise move for sure. That's one thing I was looking at. The wider areas, the struggle to get the ball back. You can see straight away Kyle Walker can go, not so much Nathan Ake, but he's gone with Jeremy Doku. So, interesting point for Manchester United. How do they stop Manchester City? That's always going to be the point. Do they actually sacrifice that number 9 and play Bruno Fernandes almost as a false 9, Garnacho and Rashford? That could be one way of setting up. Me personally, I think if I'm a Manchester City fan, I would want to see them use Rashford as that 9, Bruno down the left-hand side or right side, either way, because I think that plays right into Manchester City's hands.
Now, I mean, back to what you were saying about McTominay coming into the midfield, it's super important. They looked exposed in the Fulham game. They look like the midfield can be a little bit vulnerable. They're also missing a few of the back four as well. No Luke Shaw, no Harry Maguire. It's a massive day for Johnny Evans today.
Do you know, listen, goes on. What I do know about Johnny Evans, wonderful professional, fantastic experience now. He'll be looking forward to this game. He's got that aura, he understands it. He'll draw a few around him, that's what he'll do. So maybe not necessarily what he can do. He's sort of saying, right, you come and sit here, Scott McTominay. Casemiro's got that level of obviously professionalism and quality. So listen, they've still got lots of armoury that they can come and hurt you. But it's advantage Manchester City. That's what we want to see. That's what we're here for today, certainly. But let's respect them. Let's make sure we don't get counter-attacked. I think that'll be the one thing that Pep would say. So they've got danger at the top of the pitch and they can score goals. Defensively now, they do look a bit vulnerable.
They do indeed. Now, Dalot will probably be the fullback who attacks more between him and Lindelof. So does that mean you think Jeremy will play on that side, or do you think it will be very much Phil on the right and Jeremy on the left?
I think that's the point, isn't it? There's a little bit of pace at Manchester United in full-back position, depending on how they're going to do it. Will they send them forward? Will they want to stay and say, well, we're away from home? You know, they went to Anfield and sort of go, right, we'll be hard to beat. That's got to be the approach, not necessarily of who can get forward. And I know you're saying, like, is Jeremy Doku going to try and stop one of those? Me personally, I don't mind if it's Phil Foden, if it's Bernardo, if it's Jeremy Doku, on either side, however City want to set up. So I think it's set up for a wonderful game. I just think it's an air of caution not to be too confident, because they've come here before and got results. Away from home, sometimes it suits Manchester United. But you know, they've really had a bit of a lull after that result against Fulham, that late equaliser. I was on commentary. I tried not to celebrate too much, I promise you, because I was on a relatively network that you can't do that. But yeah, it was a big loss for them.
It was a big loss indeed. Look, we've seen the Manchester United team in the studio today. Richard Dunne, Keith Curle, Kel, any messages for them?
I wonder who's the quickest. Isn't that a good one, isn't it? Hey?
Is that one between the two guests
one slightly different shape than the other. I'm not sure which one that is. But both good guys. Had a lot of fun with over the years. But yeah, who is the quickest? Who was the quickest?
Probably say Kel.
Well, Kel, yeah, for sure. Depends which trainers he's got on again. Let's have a pan in for Kel's trainers to see what he's got on today.
Right, well, let's head back and have a look at the trainers.
Listen, I've got my lovely Puma trainers on, thank you, Brownie. And Brownie knows I'm quick because I played a charity game against him and he couldn't get near me. So we'll have that, thank you very much. Gents, let's begin. They were speaking about it there, the defence, Keith, for Manchester United. A little bit makeshift. You've kind of got Johnny Evans in there. Obviously, they've had some injuries in Martinez, Maguire not there, no Luke Shaw, Lindelof coming in. For City fans, great. For them, probably a bit of a concern, do you think?
Yeah, and I probably think the team will be set up to try and protect them as well. I think they will have a low defensive block, trying to protect and trying to make sure there's no errors and gaps in between them, because like I say, any one of the City players gets in between those gaps, it's a goal. So denying them space in front of them and giving them time to adjust. But it's a difficult tactic if you concede a goal, because if you're saying, right, we're going to get back, we're going to stay behind the ball, we're going to defend deep, and then you can see yourself being 2-0 down in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What's your plan B?
Well, that's
open the game up.
Absolutely, which then, as we know, that kind of does play into City's hands. In the midfield, trying to screen them, as Keith said, McTominay, who sometimes has started, sometimes not. He has started with Massoum alongside maybe Manu and then Bruno as well. But that's going to be another key battlefield today in the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Watching the Luton game in midweek, and they seem to go man for man and just leave spaces all over in midfield, and once you sort of leave Haaland 1v1 against anyone, you give space to De Bruyne, you're going to be in trouble. United have to keep compact, they have to try and kill the game off early, just make it a no contest, even and bore people and try their best just to get out of here alive, because if they open up and they haven't got the players to match City's players. They don't seem to have the work rate that City have. They don't have the right attitude, it seems, at the moment. Their faces are never... They don't look like they're enjoying their football, and even the victories that they've got, they've not performed well. It's sort of... It was a matter of time before they sort of slipped up again, and it was the Fulham game, but they performed then the same as they did when they were winning games. They're not in great form, and they just don't have the squad to compete against City, so they can't open up, they can't do anything else other than just sit deep and defend and hope the 90 minutes goes past quickly.
Fairly quickly, maybe try and keep themselves in it right towards the end, and I think we were saying at the start of the show, then maybe looking then at their forward plays if they do go for that quick break. Garnacho, of course, seems to be having probably his best season as a United player. Rashford as well, form a bit hot and cold, but what we can't forget is they're still very, very good players who, when given a chance, could cause Man City problems if they turn up, Keith.
Yeah, going forward, you can tell they have got ability. I think the important thing for United today is going to be about the discipline within that team, within that squad, out of possession, because they know they're going to be out of possession a long times, and there's people like Macho, Rashford, have they got the discipline out of possession to do their job for the team? And it's the unglamorous side of the game that can give you the opportunities for your breakaways and your counter-attacks, but one doesn't come without the other.
Doesn't. One player as well that I think Pep actually highlighted in his pre-match conference was Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, there's kind of a lot of talk around Bruno at the moment, but again, probably arguably their key creative player and loves to roam. You'd like to think maybe it'll be Rodri, hopefully, that can nullify his creative threat, Richard.
Yeah, he is a real threat, and when you watch United, and you sometimes I wonder how are they sixth in the league because of some of the performances you watch. There's nothing there. You don't see that, and that reflects a really good team. But it's down to the individuals they've got. Bruno can win a game on his own. Rashford can win a game on his own. Garnacho can do that sort of thing. And I think if you allow the likes of Bruno and maybe Rashford and people like that space and time, because of the quality that they do have as individuals, they can really hurt you.
Yes.
And I think having someone like Rodri who just literally commands that middle of the pitch defensively, there's going to be a really important role for him when we're expecting City to be on the attack so much.
Massively. We mentioned to you, Keith, actually, at the start, and Pep said it as well, in Pep's time, arguably we've actually been better and had better results at Old Trafford than we have here at the Etihad. There's a few games I won't mention because, you know, bad omens and all that. But I guess that's also a source for maybe hope for United, is that actually it's a great chance to turn things around because it's a derby, but they've actually had all right success here across the years. against a Pep Guardiola City team?
Yeah, look, I think that Man United at the minute, over the last current seasons, they're in a different situation. They're going through a transitional period, not only on the pitch, but off of the pitch. And some people are saying, well, yeah, that's affecting the players, what's going on off of the pitch. Ultimately, the players that step over that white line, they've got responsibility to themselves. And I will say too, when I'm in a change room, players, you're self-employed ultimately in a team game, which means then when you go out, you are representative of yourself. And again, I don't see enough from Man United players at the minute that show that they want to be part of the rebuild, and they're going to be part of the rebuild.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ten Hag as well, hopefully, will be the man kind of dictating that. A man that Pep knows very well, and he knows Pep. He's obviously said as well, he's taken lots of his philosophies, as a lot of managers have, from Pep. Have you quite seen kind of what that is yet, or do you think he's still looking for a few players to be able to execute maybe what Ten Hag wants to do and emulate what we saw with his Ajax squad?
Yeah, that's obviously his aim. I think the signings that he's made are players that he's worked with previously, that he knows and he believes can replicate his beliefs, I suppose, out on the pitch. Just not seeing it enough. You don't see, like, Onana has not really performed until now. The last couple of weeks he's starting to look a little bit more comfortable with the ball. Anthony's never really come to the fore. There's been a few players that were previously there who have maybe let him down as well, and until he can get a full squad of players that really buy into what he wants to do, it's going to be very hard for him. Whether he gets the time to do that or not, I don't know, but you don't see it on the pitch from a week to week. The work that he's putting in, you presume he's putting in the training ground, it's not being reflected by the players that he's picking on the pitch.
Not at all. There was actually a discussion on the radio this morning as well, but from United fans saying that what they'd love to see is some form of style or understanding of what it is, even if it means losing. And do you think actually that kind of is something that will help them in the future, if they go, well, we can actually see what we're trying to do, rather than just not seeing anything and still not getting the results that we want, you know, kind of actually sticking by something that you want to play by?
I think there's an issue at Man United that I think runs deeper than the players and the manager. I think it's a cultural thing within the United squad at the minute, whereby there's people trying to change the culture and the players are not accepting it, and the players are voicing those concerns and people are listening to them. Again, that undermines the manager, which means then so the new owners or the new structure that's going to go in place at Man United, they have to lead from the top, which means then that filters down and that can have a knock-on effect. It's like Pep. I listened to one of Pep's interviews today. He knows and understands he's part of the system of Man City being successful. He knows his role and he knows where to go to. So he's got that direction and that structure. Then that makes it easier for you to work as a manager when you understand the principles of the structure in place.
Yes.
At United, they haven't got that at the minute.
Obviously we know as well that that's something that they're trying to rebuild. One of the other things I remember actually hearing Pep talk about was about the youth, and I mean we speak about our youth all the time, but a couple of their young players though I think is one of the only things that I know a few of my friends who are United fans are hopeful for. We've seen the likes of Manu coming through, Garnacho as well, so there is maybe, you know, that's one part of kind of a positivity I guess for United is their young players.
Yeah, and I believe the under-18s are doing well in their league, and so there is that sort of hope there, but you need those young players to be led by experienced people that so if you're coming through and you be coming to the first team at 17, 18, you've got a fella who's your idol who's not behaving correctly, you end up going the wrong way, and I think that's been the way for United for a while. So they need those sort of stalwarts at the club who have the beliefs of the club and they understand the culture of trying to win trophies, not trying to look flash and all that sort of stuff, and I don't think they have it in the first team, that they have those sort of role models at the moment. But the young players coming through, they're going to have to stand up and be that sort of future of the club themselves. And if there is a positive about United, I suppose it is those younger players that they've got
coming through. I think as well, there was a great line Pep said as well, that what City have instilled in young players is when, you know, outside the club, your family and everything come first, but when you play for the club, it's not you or the individual, it's about putting the team first. And I guess that's actually why we've seen such great success, not just for City in our starting 11, but through the academies as well, that's kind of oppositely, conversely, ingrained in our structure, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah, it's about being that understanding of developing as an individual within a team framework, which means then, so you know, when it's on to pass. If someone's in a better position than you, give them the ball.
Yes.
So don't, and it's one of but that's it. Like Richard now is just joined the under-16s, and it's that's part of the education that's going to go right throughout the club. So you're not only producing good footballers. You're producing footballers that they may not be good enough for Man City in the end of the day, but they're going to have good habits.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with picking up good habits.
Not at all, and being a good person as well, ultimately, at the end of the day. Whenever you get a game like this at the Etihad Stadium, we have all sorts of people joining us, and we try and bring you as many as we can. Well, we can now go pitch side, because FG is joined by none other than Will Greenwood.
Yes, thank you very much, Kel. Right, joining me pitch side is rugby royalty, one of the biggest names in English rugby, Will Greenwood.
FG, it's a pleasure to me. I've not met many YouTubers. I'm like born in the early 70s, so this is a pleasure.
Listen, right, it's Derby Day today.
Yeah.
I know you fly the flag for Manchester City, you always have. It's a massive game.
Yeah.
But I want to take it back to you when you played in the Rugby World Cup final, 22 to 30 million, just the 22 million people. How did you prepare for that and the pressure?
So what I try and tell all my mates, the players have the easy bit. Honestly, they're focused on their job. There's nerves in the week. The Thursday and the Friday before were terrifying because you just don't let the country down, don't drop the ball, don't miss a tackle. You know, some players never feel like that. Me, I was a bit of a worrier and could catastrophise what might happen. I'm coming home as a David Beckham of the 1998 World Cup. It's all going to go horribly wrong. But then on match day, you're looking around, you're having your food before, you're looking at all the players who you've trusted for 7-8 years. You just know if it kicks off, they'll be with you. And if you all do your job really well, you're on it. Then match day comes, you're on the bus, and I promise you, you're just going to work. And what do you mean, you're just going to work? My job, these lads' job, is to look after themselves, sleep well, eat well, practice their one-touches, learn the shapes, and then run their socks into the ground on match day. And that's what they're doing. So now they're just going through the process of trying to get a good first touch. They're in the change room, they'll have the music on, someone will have their headphones in, and they'll come out and do their skills. Honestly, playing is easy. It's what we have to go through as fans. That's the nightmare, because Liverpool have won again. That's 99th minute. You're terrified, oh God, we can't drop points. It's bloody United. Of all the people you don't want to drop points to, it's the lads in red. So we go up. Emotional roller coaster is extraordinary. Players' emotional roller coaster is much flatter. Of course, if they go behind, heart rate will rise a bit, but then they'll do a big, deep, collective deep breath, and they'll just come again.
I feel really, really good listening to that from someone who's done it before. And speaking of that, you can see behind us the goalkeepers have just come out to warm up. Let's have a word on Edison, probably the coolest goalkeeper around. He gets the ball, he distributes it like it's nothing, and he sets the tone as well for the team. How important is that behind you, for the back line to be so calm, and for everyone to be just so calm? It just sets the tone.
You look at all the great championship teams, no one's ever had a duffer in goal. Right, of course, it was Schmeichel for so many years, but certainly when I grew up in Italy, and Dino Zoff when they won the Football World Cup, it's just, you need an absolute rock at the back. And I know he still puts our heart in our mouths now and again when he just takes an extra little touch, or he plays a late. But if I was centre half and he gave me some of the passes with some heat on my back, I'd kick it over the stand and go, "Don't ever do that again. Boot it long." Right, but luckily he's got people like John Stones and Akanji and Aki and these guys to look after it. He's absolutely spectacular. And football, yes, Guardiola will say it was originally with Cruyff, but that whole build from the back now is you've got to have a goalkeeper who could probably play midfield in a championship team. And if your goalkeeper couldn't play midfield in a championship team, then he doesn't even get a look in. It was always best shot stopper, right, if you can play, bonus. Now it's, you've got to be able to play, and if you can stop a few shots, that's a bonus.
And Edison can indeed play. Before we head back to the studio real quick, I need to ask you what your Derby Day prediction is. What score do you think it's going to be today?
4-1.
4-1. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
No,
thank you for joining us on Matchday Live.
How would is this live?
Well, this is live, yes. So say hello to everyone on Matchday Live.
Would I be able to look back at one of my first appearances on YouTube?
Well, hopefully it won't be your last, all right?
Nice
so,
one. FG, what a pleasure,
we'll see you soon. Absolute pleasure.
Kind.
Thank you so much. Let's head back to the studio.
That is a Rugby World Cup winner there. Man City fan Will Greenwood with a 4-1 prediction. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. And thank you to all of you at home if you've just tuned in to Matchday Live. It's Derby Day and it's 20 minutes until we take on Manchester United here on that pitch behind us at the Etihad Stadium. I'm alongside Keith Curle and Richard Dunne. And if you've just tuned in, you're just in time for a little game we're going to play. It's called Derby Goals Blind Ranking. So bear with me, gents. This is how it's going to work. We've, of course, seen so many iconic goals across the years. We've got 5 goals lined up, and we're going to ask you to rank them between 1 and 5, but you're not going to see the next goal. So once you've chosen to put 1 at 3, you can't put another 1 at 3 after that, OK? If you put 1 at 1, that's it. Does that make sense? Yeah. OK, here we go. Let's take a look at the first goal then. It comes from none other, well, than friend and guest of the show, Mr. Sean Wright-Phillips. 2003-2004 season. Watch this for a cracker. Oh! Off the underside with the celebration as well.
Big celebration.
Will we see? I mean, I'd like to see a Doku robot today. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? I mean, picks it up from the halfway line.
There can't be many better goals when someone's ran from the halfway line
That's
in the 90th minute.
I'm inclined to believe you on that one as well, Richard. So where are we thinking? Where do you want to put it,
I'm putting it 3.
Down the middle?
Not higher?
I think he meant to cross it. Hey, make sure you tell him.
Number 3? Or you thinking maybe 2, Richard?
No, Keith can have it as
we'll
a 3.
Go with 3.
Leave it.
OK, we started down the middle. Next up, we've got this strike from former Man City women's player Caroline Weir with this beauty. Ooh, like that. We like that one, didn't we, Keith? Yeah. Of course, she scored 2 Derby Day goals in a row. Oh, that's outrageous. It is, dare I say, a little bit Cantona-esque, that one. Where are we thinking for that one, gents?
Beautiful. It's a tough one, that, because I love the ones that go in off the crossbar, and that just missed the crossbar.
Yeah.
So I would nearly have to say it goes behind Sean at 4.
At 4?
Yeah.
Agree with that one, Keith?
Yeah.
We'll put that one at 4 then from Caroline Weir. OK, next up, we're going to go to 2011-2012 season. None other than our very own Edin Dzeko in the flipping 6-1 classic. I mean, it's a shame we missed the assist, but the assist from Silva almost is... We're taking in the whole goal as well, so we can include the David Silva assist, which hopefully we'll get a little better angle of it here, to make it 6 as well. Oh.
Great goal.
Pass is frightening.
I mean, 6-1 as well at Old Trafford. That was the turning point, Sir Alex. Never in your lifetime, pal. Never in your lifetime. Well. Famous last words. Where do we think, gents?
I'm going 5.
Going 5? OK,
I think it's a standard finish for a centre forward.
Lovely.
Of his quality.
Keith has spoken. 5 then, we're putting that one there. So we've got 1 and 2 left. OK, let's see where we go next.
It better be good.
Big pressure on these. If one of these is your penalty.
OK, we're going to turn to our former captain, Ilkay Gundogan. This is just set the scene. FA Cup final, on for the double. 12 seconds in. How about this?
Seconds.
Bosh. I tell you what. I mean, that as well, the relief that brought to that Wembley Stadium that day as well was just amazing. Gents, you've got 1 and 2 left. Where do you rank this one?
It's got to be up there, no?
It's got to be, Richard. It's got to be. We've got to put
the only thing about it is it's anti-Pep football. It's like Route 1, but then a lovely finish at the end.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think the game as well. I mean,
yeah.
It's got to go. I mean, you've got to go number 1. I don't want to put numbers in your mouth, but
yeah, go on. You said it.
Can I have it?
All on
yeah,
you,
go on. I'll put that one in number 1. Let's see then what this set. Watch me, I got this wrong now. OK, final one. We're going to go back to Caroline Weir. She loved a Derby Day goal. Well, it's it's on my head be it if they want to put this at 1. This is a... It's a number... do you know what, though? I still think the Gundogan one out at the top. The FA Cup final.
Yeah.
I think we've actually done very well there.
Yeah, I think that's spot on.
Lovely
strike.
Beautiful strike. Gosh, Caroline Weir, what a player as well. Loved the Derby Day goal. Putting that as
an arrow.
That is
beautiful.
a bullet. Well, it's 1:15. The teams have just gone back into the tunnel here at the Etihad Stadium. If you do want to let us know what you make of our top 5, would you have placed it any differently? Just use that all-important WhatsApp number, as you know, but I'm very happy with that.
That's really good,
We've done very well there, gents. Right, let's take a pause here before we get some final thoughts and some match predictions. I believe FG has caught up with the boys from Stockport. Blossoms are in the house. Let's get their thoughts ahead of the Derby Day game.
All right, pitchside at the Etihad. It wouldn't be Derby Day without speaking to the Blossoms. First things first, Tom. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. What about Derby Day? You feeling a bit nervous?
I mean, I'm an old school at heart, so I'm always a bit nervous for Derby Day, do you know what I mean? But you're not going to get a better team than this, like the City team now, so you've got to be as confident as we've ever been, to be fair.
I said this before, though, like, weirdly, did you prefer Derby Day when it was like, come on, we've got to beat them, like, it's like this.
Yeah, when you're the underdog.
Yeah, whereas now, like, where you think it's a bit more like,
expected to thrash them here, aren't you, now, but we'll see.
There's a lot of pressure, like, I guess, from the fans' point of view. I don't know if the players feel it as much. You can see the players, the substitutes warming up behind us. What a bench that is, by the way.
I know,
when you look at that. It's pure talent. It's absolutely incredible. So the atmosphere in the Etihad, or around the Etihad's building up as well already, but it'll be rocking in here today, won't it?
Oh, yeah. From the off, I'd imagine, yeah. And if they get an early goal, then it's party time, innit? But I don't want to jinx it and speak too soon, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right, I'm going to ask you. You're going to hate me for this.
Oh, here we go.
What's the score prediction?
You see, I got that straight away. Yeah. 17-0.
Well, if it's 17-0, I promise you I will wear them glasses and that jacket.
If Haaland and De Bruyne play like they did against Luton, like, why not? Like, no, I'm obviously joking. It's not going to be 17-0. But no, realistically, I think it's going to be one of them. I think it's going to be either they sit back and we just absolutely batter him and it's like a 1-0 like last half the game, or it's going to be like a 6-1 game again where we just absolutely batter him. Like, and I can see it going, if they sit back, I can see it going like they get us on the break or something, and I can see a disgusting thing like that happening. Or, like I say, we just go out and absolutely batter him.
So pretty much, we just never know what's going to happen on Derby.
So, yeah, it's like that thing, you know, what do you reckon? We're either going to win, draw, or lose.
3-1. That's a bit more realistic, isn't it?
Right. I think if we start scoring, I think we'll score more than 3.
It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you as always.
Nice
what can we expect? Oh yeah, I think it's the first time you've been sober on the show, isn't it? What is it we can expect from the Blossoms as well in the future? Like,
we're working on an album.
Oh,
yeah. Is that what you meant?
That's exactly what Have we got
working on an album,
any release dates for us yet?
Nah, no release dates.
It'll be later on in the year, but we're in the middle of recording it now. We've done some songs with Jungle. Some songs with James Skelly, who we've worked with for a long time. An artist called C-Mat. And yeah, we've got festival season. Big show at Wythenshawe Park in the bank holiday weekend in August. So busy, man. Busy.
It's all good. Actually, we're playing with Noel Gallagher as well very soon.
Yeah.
When is that?
We're doing the Teenage Cancer Trust in London next month. So that's fun.
All good.
Well, keep up the great work. There's obviously a lot to look forward to on the pitch today and from the Blossoms in the future. So great to chat to you guys.
17-0.
Enjoy the game. 17-0 apparently.
I mean, I'm not sure if them Blossom boys have had a couple of beers, but we'll take the 14-0 prediction. We'll take it. Very exciting as well to hear maybe an exclusive their music to come from them later in the year. Jungle as well. Love that. Thank you so much. Great to have you on the show as always, gents. And if you've just tuned in, thanks for joining us. Your starting 11 is on the bottom of your screen. I'll run you through it though. Ederson in goal. Kyle Walker captains his first derby at the Etihad Stadium. John Stones, Ruben Diaz and Nathan Ake complete the back four. Moving into midfield, we've got Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland. The atmosphere and the energy, it's just getting that little bit more exciting. I'm sure it is wherever you're watching as well. Gents, just going back on some final thoughts then, what will City have to do today, Keith, to make sure that they go out there, do the business, get the win and, of course, close the gap to Liverpool to 1 point?
Again, I think play the game, not the occasion. On paper, how quickly can they get into their tempo and their rhythm and their style of play, and what's in front of them, they're better than today.
It's funny, isn't it? Will Greenwood spoke about it earlier on in the show about emotions, and I mean, you gents know and you'll know I can get very emotional when it comes to City. different for players though in the dressing room now? It was surprising me. It was a sense of calm almost. Do you think? What is the vibe like 10 minutes before you go into a big game like this, Richard?
It is. It's like you're about to go to work. You know what your job is. You know what everyone's role is. You understand the noise and the emotion that comes with it. But you're just cool, fresh, trying to focus on what your role is. And I think the way City have been, they break it down, and it's like game after game after game. We just focus on this one moment, this one game, and it might break the game down into 10, 15-minute spells and sort of thing to try and keep short. All we have to do is be good for the next 10 minutes, and then after that, the next 10 minutes, the next 10 minutes. And I think they're so experienced. They've won so many trophies. They've won so many games. The way they're performing at the moment, they're just coming in with loads of confidence. And the thing is, don't take a step backwards. Just go, because you're better than them. Go and win the game.
I mean, and not just that, when you're saying take a step forward, it does still feel as well, Keith, and dare I say, we've not even reached the full potential, I'd feel, from what this 11 and what this squad, should I say, could do and can do on a football pitch.
Yeah, and again, I think because of the journey that the football club's been on recently with the trophies that they've won, so they're going on a journey that they're familiar with as well. And there's enough players in that change room that have been on that journey and understand what's needed, and it's about players doing their job, but enjoying doing it. And again, we touched on it earlier on. You have a look. There's a freedom about how the City play, but they've got to earn that right to play football, which means that you have to do the ugly side of the game and be prepared to do the ugly side of the game, like the running, the chasing, the tackling. And then when you get the ball and you're in right areas, go and express yourself and go and play.
Go and play, indeed. And what plays do you highlight as being key today, Richard, for City to make sure that we get over the line?
I think the obvious ones are De Bruyne and Haaland are the ones that you'd imagine are going to be the headline makers at the end. But I think the role that John Stones plays is very difficult for other teams to stop it and to fill the gaps that he finds and all that sort of stuff. So if he performs, I think that means he's got a freedom, that City are in control, that they're dominating the game. And against Luton, there was a lot more forward passes, there was a lot more attacking, open play, and I think they do the same. They've got to.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we are going to hear from some of our official supporters clubs for their predictions. Before I do that, though, gents, I need your predictions. So, Keith, score prediction, please.
4-0.
See that? Lovely. Confident. Clean sheet. We love to hear it. Richard?
I'll go 3-0.
Lovely stuff, right, 4-0.
I've lost 2 goals since I was downstairs.
Right, you know what to do. Come join us at half-time. Come join us at full-time. Alistair Mann has got your commentary on the official Manchester City app. Thank you, as always, for tuning in for Matchday Live. I'll see you in 45 minutes. Until then, the last thing for me to say is come on, City.
Manchester City on Sunday, 3-0. Champions again, ole, ole. Champions again, ole, ole. Champions again, champions again, champions again, ole, ole.
This is Samuel from Man City Addis Supporter Club from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. My prediction for the Sunday derby game is 4-0. City will win. Come on, City.
Hello, my name is Elias Orko. I am from Man City Addis Supporter Club. My prediction for Manchester derby game is 5-0. City will win. Come on, City.
Hello, this is Faisal from Man City Addis Supporters Club in Ethiopia. My prediction for Sunday game is 3-1 for City. Haaland hat-trick. Come on, City.
Well, very, very warm welcome to the Etihad Stadium. How are you feeling? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you expectant? So many different emotions ahead of this particular fixture. It's been one which in the last few years has been one that the Blues expect to win. I suppose there's an age of supporters a generation ago who went to it hopeful that something out of the extraordinary might happen. Well, the boot is very much on the other foot these days. United come here with a lot more hope than expectation. They are shorn of key players today. The Blues pretty much at full strength. There is every reason to feel that it is a Manchester City day, but this is Derby Day, and over the years we've seen all sorts of strange occurrences, strange goings-on. Might VAR play its part? Let's hope not. One way or another, this is sure to be a fascinating afternoon, intensified probably by the late controversial Liverpool goal at Nottingham Forest yesterday afternoon. The two sets of players are in the tunnel. The ground is filled to capacity. The sun is even leaking out from behind a fairly blue sky, perhaps fittingly on Derby Day. And it is, in a way, a feeling that it is springtime, the time of year when the Blues are in the hunt for trophies. And you can probably hear the noise building around the Etihad Stadium, awaiting the players to make their way out. Well, for 130 years, it's been a fixture which has divided families, divided opinions, and simply altered the moods of the inhabitants of Manchester. From the humble origins of Ardwick and Newton Heath has evolved a clash which now resonates not simply in the northwest of England, not just across the country, but to all four corners of the globe. While for decades it was all about local pride and